Hey everyone, I wanted to give you an update on what's going on with this crazy initiative, the Restore Election Confidence Initiative that was submitted on December 19th. What's crazy about it is how the prosecuting attorney's office has responded. Now, if you have paid attention to me over the years, you realize that I warned of this, that especially in the last amendment that was offered, resolution for amending the home rule charter here in Clark County, that by adding this feature where it has to go to the prosecuting attorney's office, that this was going to be used, this was going to be weaponized to try to keep initiatives that go after control of the administrative elite or swamp, however you want to couch it, that was going to be used. And guess what? That is what's happening. So I submitted the initiative to restore election confidence on December 19th, and they forwarded it to the prosecuting attorney's office pronto that day, which they have 5 days. So just to let you know, the home rule charter is what allows our county to have initiatives or referendums. So it's not like some state power. It's Clark County's unique power. There's seven counties total in Washington state that have home rule charters and have these initiative powers. But I submitted the initiative on the 19th. According to the home rule charter, the auditor's office had 5 days to transmit it to the prosecuting attorney's office. They transmitted it that day, which is good. And on December 21st, they wrote me a letter. Now, I got it after Christmas, but on December 21st, they wrote me a letter just stating, that they're not going to allow this to go forward. Now, the home rule charter specifically maps out the prosecuting attorney's office involvement and how this should play out. And how it should play out is proposal is submitted to the auditor. The auditor has 5 days to get it to the prosecuting attorney's office. The prosecuting attorney's office has 10 days to formulate a ballot title, which is true and impartial and posed as a positive question, no less or no more than 50 words, okay? They have to send it back to the auditor's office. I don't know why it takes 10 days to create a ballot title, but whatever. Sends it back to the auditor's office. They have 5 days to give it a number. I don't know why it would take 5 days, but that's what it says in the home rule charter. Then it goes back to the prosecuting attorney's office. I know, surprisingly convoluted, isn't it? Back to the prosecuting attorney's office, and this is the legal review portion where it's very confined. The prosecuting attorney's office can only do one thing, and it's contained in a statement saying, in the opinion of the Clark County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, the subject of the initiative meets legal criteria. Kind of butchered the end of it, but it's like that. And they only can do one of three things. Check a box. Yes, no, not at this time. That's all that they're allowed to do based on the home rule charter. But that's not what our prosecuting attorney's office has done here in Clark County. So what they decided in this letter, December 21st, they decided, you know what? We don't like this. We think that the initiative would amend state and federal statutes, and that's not permitted by the charter, which is garbage. This initiative does not do that. It does not amend state and federal. Because of us being a home rule charter, there is certain autonomy in which we can pass ordinances that, as long as they, and this is proven in court, as long as they don't conflict, as long as they don't have open conflict with state or federal law, and none of the proposals on the Restore Election Confidence Initiative is in open conflict. But they're saying, hey, so that's the 21st. That's why they're like, hey, as a result, therefore, it cannot be placed on the ballot. They're killing it. They're not following. They're saying we're not following a home charter, home rule charter. We're making up our own rule. Interesting. So I fired back a reply, said, hey, you have to give and by the way, there's really no clarification that they gave. They gave no instances or examples of how this is doing it. It's just by fiat, by overarching, hey, this is what we think. Too bad. So I sent a reply saying, hey, you need to, if you're going to take this kind of serious action, you need to give clarification. You need to, show your homework. And by the way, I emailed them. I called them every day. No answer. I had to drop off a physical letter at the prosecuting attorney's office. And then finally, I got a reply. And this is dated January 2nd. And it says, all of a sudden, lo and behold, so I just read to you what their main reason that it amended, or what was it, amended the statutes, and that's not permitted. Now, January 2nd, in between the 21st, December 21st, and January 2nd, all of a sudden we have a new reason. Shocker. And the new reason is, so in Washington State, there is a no bill shall embrace more than one subject. It's called the one subject requirement, which is actually a really good thing. That way, nationally, how we see multiple things getting put into one bill. This Washington State does not allow that, including their initiatives, which, by the way, I thought that this would be the argument that they would try to make because it's the most subjective. So someone figured it out in the prosecuting attorney's office, said, whoa. We have a better shot at killing this by going after the one subject rule, even though this is one subject that the initiative carries. But they basically are saying, you know what? We think it has at least 3 different subjects. Doesn't identify, doesn't give clarification, just says, we think it has more subjects. So we're going to kill it. Additionally, then they throw in this, which kind of dovetails a little bit, but it's a little bit different issue than what they brought up. And the legal doctrine of preemption also precludes processing. So they're like, what we talked to you before, we're still holding to that, but now we have a new big reason why we're going to kill this. And they're talking about preemption. Preemption is basically this thought of saying, that you can't, there's a hierarchy, and, so either if the law goes against these things, or if a state claims preemption on that topic. For example, the issue of firearms is a preempted topic in Washington State, which is interesting. So they're claiming preemption in the RCW 9.41.290 that they state is the preemption for firearms. Okay. I mean, the firearms and elections, I don't think are related, but I'm not a lawyer. Maybe I'm missing something. So they're basically saying preemption. So again, we go back to Clark County is a home rule charter county. Just like there's home rule cities, or what they call first class cities, which they've done away with that language. And what this allows is for counties and cities to enact ordinances that go further than state law. And some would say amend state law, but they don't amend it. It's just for that jurisdiction. As long, in this, the legal standard is this, as long as it doesn't openly conflict. So for example, in the issue of, video cameras, the point of video cameras in the initiative, the proposed initiative, that we want video cameras in video processing areas. If there was a state law that said you cannot have video cameras in the processing areas, then I couldn't include that in the initiative. And I know that. That would be an open conflict of state law, right? Get that? But when it comes to, for example, audits or other areas, it doesn't. In fact, if anything, it goes further. It makes them stronger here in Clark County, which is totally allowed under the Home Rule Charter. The prosecuting attorney's office is pretending that the Home Rule Charter doesn't exist. That's mainly their argument. And it's pretty wild. You know, they're quoting RCWs that don't relate. They're all over the place. So anyways, they're basically saying, hey, people of Clark County interested in election reform, pound sand. We don't care that we're not following the Home Rule Charter. We're just not going to do it. We're not going to follow the Home Rule Charter. And so there you go. And it's all taxpayer funded, right? These attorneys, prosecuting attorney's office, Tony Golick, and such, they're all paid for by you and me, but you wouldn't know it, right? And their position is basically, you know what, we know better. We know better. Even though the Home Rule Charter specifically prescribes legal review and the scope of it and how limited it is, they've just said, we don't care. So that's the update. If any of you know me, you know that that's not where I'm going to leave it. And I'll have big news for you real soon about our legal action, because we're not just going to let them think that they're going to steamroll us. It's not going to happen. And their corruption, and it is abuse of power, seriously. When you have the prosecuting attorney's office saying, we're not going to follow the law, we're going to come up with lawfare tactics to avoid our responsibilities, then there's legal action to be taken and will be taken. So keep posted. I need your prayers. This is in the thick of it. And I need your support. Legal costs. This is just the beginning. So yes, please pray. You know, if you can pitch in a few bucks for the legal side of it, that would be awesome. But that's the skinny. There's going to be another big update coming real soon, but hopefully that gives you the big picture of what's going on. Take care.